Also on the war front, a huge provocation against Iran, who's already under sanctions, already had our government illegitimately overthrow their government several times, using radical Muslims to do it. General Petraeus goes on CNN and says Iran can be bombed, says General Petraeus, and they may do it. That's not a general's place to be on CNN in a highly scripted show with Wolf Blitzer talking about that. It's outrageous. All right, now getting into the banker bailout that's taking place. This is not a bailout. It is a banking takeover. And with Bankergate that we covered extensively yesterday, and we wrote key articles on the sites about, I think the most comprehensive out there by Paul Watson, Steve Watson, and Kurt Nimmo. They all published reports yesterday, worked tirelessly to go over all the facets of the criminality. We need to get those reports out to everybody. Ron Paul, Geithner should be fired over Bankergate. That's one by Paul Watson. Here's another one by Steve Watson. Bankergate emails expose criminal financial dictatorship at work. And again, Kurt filed another report with Bankergate in the title you need to read and get out to everybody. This is so important that people be made aware of this, because people know the banks are ripping them off, but they don't understand the full magnitude of crimes committed by Geithner and others on the surface, keeping it secret that they were being paid themselves personally the banker bailout money, the Federal Reserve people in the private group and the governmental Treasury Department. And here's what the mainstream media says. I mean, they admit what's happening. There's no longer any hiding it with over 20% real unemployment. America slides deeper into depression as Wall Street revels. That means parties. December was worst month for U.S. unemployment since the Great Depression began. London Guardian telling the truth. Business Week. The disposable worker. Pay is falling, benefits are vanishing, and no one's job is secure. How companies are making the era of temp more than temporary. And it gets into how the real economy is dead as a doornail. But the banks say the economy's great because they're stealing all the money. Everything's being fed into their mouth, into their maw, into their jaws. Schwarzenegger budget acts would fall heavily on poor. Reuters. See, they bankrupt California. Now almost everything goes to interest on debt to private banks, and Schwarzenegger makes massive cuts to the poor. See, your whole beautiful welfare system that got everybody dependent, now they got Northcom and Homeland Security in place. They don't care if you riot now. They want you to riot. They're now going to bankrupt you, and then they're going to tax you if you have more than one child and pay you to be sterilized. That's what they're now openly announcing. They're pushing that now. That's the next phase. So over here on the document cam, I can show you a shot of this. Schwarzenegger budget acts would fall heavily on the poor. The latest budget plan from California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger would force 200,000 children off low-cost medical insurance, end in-home care for 350,000, infirm and elderly citizens. Yeah, I got to euthanize them. And slash income assistance to hundreds of thousands more. And see, conservatives will say, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, but how about we cut government? No, that's growing like a cancer. And don't forget the NBC report, not the one where TSA agents are going crazy declaring themselves God. No, the other one this week, where they're telling California employees at the DMV, and now they're saying other agencies, you've got to work 1 day a week free. That's called slavery. See, you government people love sucking off the public. You love your largesse. That's all going to end for you, too. We'll be just like China. Corrupt Chinese officials pocket $50 billion. The media is reporting $50 billion that the bureaucrats have stolen from the people. That's what big government delivers. Here's another one about what big government's doing to you. Copenhagen summit turned junket. Exclusive. CBS News. At least 20 members of Congress made the trip to ClimateGate conference in Copenhagen last month, and the millions and millions of dollars they spent to do it. Here's that other article that I mentioned. Teenagers only use 800 different words a day. Many children ages 3 can't even talk. We're being turned into just mindless drones. Pretty soon, if you can talk and tie your shoelaces, you'll be known as a genius. Their brains are so filled with mercury. The government thinks you're so dumb, they tell you mercury's good for you. Ed Brown receives virtual death sentence for resisting government. Kurt Nimmo, Infowars.com. All the details there. 37 years in prison. He'd be over 107 years old when he gets out. You usually serve 90+%, about 92% of a federal sentence. So that means he'll be about 100 years old or more when he gets out. Just absolutely criminal. But meanwhile, Geithner doesn't have to pay his taxes. It can steal 220-something billion in front of everybody and doesn't get in trouble. But they get thrown in the slammer. So that is going on. Now, continuing here, the media is trying to push distractions like Trent Lott, who was just saying something mildly that could be called racist and then having to step down as leadership in the Senate. Now Harry Reid, I don't like Harry Reid. I hate his guts. He's a very wicked globalist robbing us. He comes out, and this has been the big news the last 4 or 5 days. I haven't covered it, but I want to mention it now. Harry Reid comes out, and it gets released in a big book that he said, oh, it's great. Americans wouldn't vote for him, but he's light-skinned and doesn't have an ethnic dialect. He was pushing Obama to run. He's Obama's friend. He's saying what he thinks of as racist America will go for Obama. And it was Reid that got him to do it. But see, that's just a political football meant to train Republicans to support political correctness, to rush in and call for his head. No, Lott shouldn't have to step down. He should step down because he's a crook, but not for that reason. And Reid shouldn't have to step down for that. He should step down because he's a crook violating Senate rules and the Constitution. But see, that's how they train you to accept political correctness in all of this, is by having Republicans now enforce it on Harry Reid. So that's going on there. Republicans cite Lott in calling for Reid to quit. The other big issue is what happened with Flugate, and it is Flugate. The head of the EU Health Council has admitted they were lied to. They were told tens of millions would die. It was all a fraud by big government for a power grab with pharmaceutical makers to make tens of billions of dollars with the big five makers. They lied. And they, in these reports, the EU health chief, he'll get in trouble now, watch, says it's a dangerous vaccine. The German government wouldn't even take it themselves. Remember that. Everything we told you